In the bottom left-hand side, grand finals of the first Kung Fu Cup of the winter season. Our red Protoss player from Psystorm. This is MaxPax. He takes on the blue Terran from the Shopify Rebellion, man. I mean, you have to go on a good run to get to the finals. And this man has been on one of those. The blue Terran player is the Shopify Rebellion's ByuN. Yeah, like I say, you don't get to this the finals of this event easily. That is for sure. There's no doubt about that. I'm trying to find an observer that's not looking at the freaking logos on the ground that we can't see because we don't have the logos turned on. This is the logos of the sponsors of the event. But yeah, you don't get into this stage of the tournament without a freaking good run. ByuN has come through Spirit 2-0, Dark 2-1, and Solar 2-1. So we're going to test his PvT out now. As MaxPax has been on nothing but a PvT run, well, a little bit different. He started out with PvP versus Jim and versus nice 2-0s, then 2-1s against Oliveira where he started out shaky but really got back on track, and then beat Clem in that semi-final matchup just about an hour ago to set us up here into this PvT Grand Final. So that's where we stand, that's where we're at. Like I say, you don't get far in the Kung Fu Cup without being freaking incredible. And quite frankly, both these players are freaking incredible, and they've been on an amazing set of games today. So let's hope for a great final. It is, of course, best of 5 in the Kung Fu Cup finals as well. So, I mean, to be fair, ByuN and MaxPax almost always play fun series as well. I struggle to think of a time where ByuN and MaxPax is particularly one-sided. That's not to say there's never been like a 2-0 or 3-0, of course, but if I think of MaxPax and ByuN, it's usually pretty even. And to be fair, okay, here's some stats. ByuN 3-0, 2-0, 2-0 in the last 3 meetings, and then 2-1 and 3-1 before that. ByuN has won 5 in a row against MaxPax, but he's only 8 and 9 against him this year because MaxPax won 5 in a row before that. So ByuN on a little bit of a streak against MaxPax. MaxPax will try to break that today. He's clearly capable of doing it again this year. He has got the winning record against ByuN. It's just more recently, ByuN has kind of had his number, and MaxPax has lost quite a few maps in a row. Can MaxPax bring it back? Can he get this PvT back under control? He's going to go Twilight Council. We saw him play some great Twilight games so far today. I'm going to be looking for that once again now, as he gets that Twilight Council up and running. And we see the couple of barracks just coming out from ByuN as he sets up into the bio for a little bit. So 3 racks from ByuN going to be very aggressive. Obviously, if MaxPax goes 4-gate blink, you're not going to have tanks or anything to help, but you will have a faster stim and a larger chunk of bio to trade. Just got to be very careful with the fights you pick in that scenario, right? Got to be very cautious not to let things go a little bit too crazy. There's a couple of adepts moving around at the front. The Marines are poking here. Warp gate is coming up to finish in. The adepts shading around, not really going to go too far. Again, blink on the way up. The warp gate coming out. And Marines will just go and chase down these adepts a little. So one adept very nearly going down, the other adept taking some damage. Both adepts are going to end up shading and cancelling their shade back up into that main base. As our stim pack, combat shield, robo facility all coming up. Still seeing the blink on the way. And it's gateway number 3 on the way right now. We'll see if we build the 4th, or we'll see if MaxPax may stay away from 4 gates and just play the 3 gates for the opening map, at the very least. Again, definitely expecting MaxPax to throw out the best of 5, mix in a bunch of aggressive blink alongside some Phoenix and Charge, or Phoenix and Colossus. That's the 3 styles that are popular in PvT, and he really sticks to those as well. You know, he really is kind of, happy to play the standard because he plays the standard to a very high level. So he's really able to make the standard, very good for himself. Also do have a couple of steps just shading into this natural for a couple of moments. And yeah, blink, prism, all on the way out. We see the adepts and the stalkers gathering together here. And the stalkers actually going to get a few shots off, going to chase our Marines away. So the Marines get pushed back just ever so slightly. And drop down an extra refinery in that natural expansion as well. But the 2 adepts shading straight through. Our factory is coming up to being done. So yeah, 3 gates into that 3rd base. Obviously, MaxPax just getting that 3rd base on his natural location because he was forced with the engineering bay block to take the 3rd initially. Didn't mention too much with that. Nothing really came of it. Obviously, especially with the 3 racks, there wasn't any sort of kind of like attempted like Hellion run by to pull you apart because your bases are further apart than usual or anything. And also just because MaxPax played a pretty controlling style, he's able to kind of take away the fact that we've never really had to look on MaxPax's side of the map, right? So not having to look over there kind of helps you ignore it as well. This Bioforce pushing out, and again, not stimming too soon. You want to conserve your stim pack. You know, do not put these units on lower HP than they need to be, just because we're going to be waiting a little while longer still for the medevacs to make their arrival, and we really are going to need those medevacs to be able to help out with everything else. Stalkers, the Adept, and the Prism. In front of the Natural here, Charge coming up, Robo Bay coming through. And again, just a few units of MaxPax chilling on the front of the Natural here as our Prism comes around into the main. This is obviously where MaxPax tries to find a little extra. ByuN stims a pretty conservative portion of his army. MaxPax redrops and again just wants to bait ByuN as far into the main as possible. But look at this from ByuN. He shows up on the newly built base and he's going to find a bunch of probes, just a handful of Marines sent across the map. They slip out without MaxPax seeing it, and what a cute play that is. Gets in for 7 workers, halts MaxPax's building economy at the exact right time. Very nicely done as our Robo Bay about to finish. The additional gates and the charge coming up. The Bio gets there to keep the Prism pushed back. And again, additional gateways just coming out with the probes, with the Colossus. All in production right now as well. Thank you so much, Anonymous Gifter, for giving us out to Maru. I'm sure he'll appreciate the WardiTV replay packs. May learn a thing or two as our ByuNs do push out, chasing these Stalkers into the center. Apparently we're going to gift all the Korean pro players Solar with a gifted sub as well. Thank you, Anonymous. Stalkers do pull all the way back down the left-hand side. A couple more barracks coming up. Our third CC is on the way. Prism is not being paid the right attention to it, so that's going to go down. Did at least unload the Zealots, but that's not exactly going to be much compensation. When you're unloading these Zealots straight into the face of ByuN's bio units, they're not exactly going to do very much, so they go down as well. That's a massive cleanup from ByuN. Can focus a bit more on being active out and about on the map now. Doesn't have to really kind of hold back as much. Can be a little bit more pressuring. And again, just kind of go a little bit more freely. On the other side is our Stalkers coming through. Just having our bio units coming in to chase the Stalkers down a little bit. Anonymous Gifted, thank you for giving a sub out to Maddox as well. Our medevac's going to unload in the main. We're going to drop a probe, going to go after the Forge. +1 attack is going to be denied. Oil line goes off. A couple of Zealots being picked away at. This is, well, Colossus defense. I mean, the Stalkers in the main aren't doing too hot. Now ByuN has to pull back and deal with the Zealots too. Those scrappy fighters, there's going to be units kind of all over the place. ByuN backs away from the main. He backed away from the main army. Didn't try and dive the 2 Colossi or anything. Bio will knock down one more Zeldin. And continue to pull back to this upper right side. Couple of Forges coming in. That Colossus production continues. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way down as well, so all of that's still being settled. As we have 2 more Forges coming up, the Dark Shrine coming in. And just seeing our Bio Force has poking around a couple different directions. Again, with the Dark Shrine, MaxPax will give access to a later setup where you can be a little bit more harassment focused, a little bit more aggressive around the map. Obviously, it will take a little while to get to those DTs, but moving towards them now. A little bit of a chase here. ByuN believing he can chase that Colossus down, and, well, he was doing a good job, but he loses the 2 Vikings, so loses a little bit of that chasing potential. As now the Dark Shrine continues to build, and it, again, is not really far from being done. It's going to be nice to have those DTs out, a little bit of extra harass possibility for MaxPax. Help control ByuN a little as he gets into Ghosts and Vikings. And ByuN's also running away with upgrades at the moment, so MaxPax with his own 1-1 on the way now. He'll start playing a little bit of catch-up, especially if he can go kind of straight into the 2-2 on the follow-up to that as well. A couple of Vikings just over on them edges. Again, the Prism loads up a few Zealots as well, and we have the Bioforce knocking down the rocks in the center. MaxPax so far has held off the pressure that ByuN has put on his front doorstep. He's just not succeeding really in pressuring too well himself, right? Every time we see this Prism come through, it dies pretty quick. The DT tries to warp in there, doesn't do well. The Ghost just about survives the Widowmine shot. Bit of friendly fire once again, as Widowmines definitely haven't been the greatest friend to the Terrans today. There's been a lot of friendly firing. There's a couple more Widowmines going off. There's both DTs so far. One warped into the main, cancelled. One walks into the third, killed immediately. ByuN having no issue against the first Dark Temple of the game. The preparation ahead of time obviously puts you in a pretty good position with regard to that, so it's obviously very nice as our 1-1 upgrades continue to build through. ByuN actually never started +2 once +1 armor finished, so he will not have an extra set of upgrades. That might be because he focuses on Vikings and Ghost production off 3 bases. It's hard to do that and get upgrades, so it's better to start teching up than it is to kind of get the upgrades continued into 2-2 initially. I think that's probably the logic of ByuN, as he does it with this fight. Already knocked down one Colossus. His SCV's down on the other side of the map, but this fight could just decide the game as MaxPax's army is melting. Yeah, these Zealots are going to cause some trouble. Yeah, they're going to be a bit of an annoyance. But at the end of the day, you're losing everything here as MaxPax. These Disruptors have some serious work to do. ByuN had the last second split there because he kind of walked into the Disruptor a little bit, but he's going to kill everything. This base is going to pop one more Disruptor out perhaps. His own third is lifted up. But with a 50 supply lead, it does look as though ByuN has a 1-0 advantage pretty much penciled into this first game of the series. So, against that Disruptor, MaxPax still actually has 3 bases, which is maybe concerning if this game was to go on, if ByuN couldn't close it out in the near future. But it's Zealot Stalk with 0 tech, I want to say, not even a Disruptor on the map right now. Couple of EMPs softening up the Zealots. Even upgrades, so no advantages there. We kill a couple of the Ghosts actually as the Zealots charge forward. The Ghosts are just in the front. Again, as long as we kite backwards, eventually the Zealot numbers drop down a little. And ByuN can really just start to turn it onto the Stalkers. Once you get into range of the Stalkers, you can do very well for yourself. And we'll see ByuN overall. 50 army supply lead still once reinforcements come across the map. He even spots the shimmer of the DT here. And the DTs have done nothing for MaxPax. They found so little success. ByuN has been absolutely on top of his defense against those. He's been in a very good place defending against them and dealing with them. Our units coming through. Zealot's taking damage. Stalker's going to be hunted. And it looks as though ByuN really does have this first game fully under wraps. GG is called. ByuN opens with the 1-0 lead on his server preference as well, of course. That is something worth noting. And MaxPax is going to have server preference. We're kind of ahead on ads for once, so I'll probably change after the next map, but we can go into game 2 with nothing as it started up. Top right is going to be our blue Protoss player, leading the charge of the Protoss race, but not so much in this finals. It is MaxPax. In the bottom left, our red Terran from the Shopify Rebellion is ByuN. Well, again, gotta say, ByuN played a pretty solid game number 1. And do wonder what MaxPax will try and bring in a second game to mix it up. Obviously, he didn't 4-gate Blink, only 3-gate. It's never really had that kind of full pressure that sometimes MaxPax finds himself shooting with. As this best of 5 game 2 gets going, probe down to the bottom side. Ryung on the gifted sub-train as well. Thank you so much, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous. Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Cool. About halfway done. Our next is coming up. a command center on the high ground. So ByuN going to play with a little bit of safety. Sometimes MaxPax can be pretty aggressive in a game. By playing it like this, you can pretty much just say, cool. And get to essentially just kind of not have to deal with any of your kind of early game broader shenanigans of units trying to delay the CC, stopping my bunker getting up, etc. You just play a little bit safer initially, so obviously it's a little bit more costly because you got to float that CC down to the low ground at some point, but the idea is good. As our Reaper holds out in the front, Adept chrono boosting along. Reaper moves in toward the natural as our Nexus comes through, finishing as well. Adept continues to chase, and the Reaper is really taking things for a little bit of a walk right there. Doing a couple of loops. Twilight Council again not far from finishing. Gateway coming up, couple probes on the way out. I'm going to punch that through at the moment as our Reaper continues up to the top. So that Blinky is still coming up, getting the blink running here. As our Reaper comes towards the natural, just going to run straight through. Probe will begin to take some damage. And the Reaper will start to take some shots off of the Adept as well. Reaper! Oh, kind of got stuck a little bit, no? I mean, he's going to see the Twilight Council anyway, so he gets the scout, just kind of felt like he got stuck on the wall, and then he kind of was just slow to jump in the main, so he didn't get the distance between himself and the Adept that was maybe meant to happen there. Adept heading down the bottom left, the other Adept moving around a little bit. Couple gates come out, or blink on the way through, robo facility about to finish. The Marines come around and just seen a couple of Marines continue to gather up. The medevac still going up to the top here on the side of ByuN, so bringing that all the way up to the north. In these early stages, Prism coming out, blink on the way. How many gates we on? Yeah, the 4 gates this time, so this time we are going to fully send it. But a mine drop comes in, 2 stalkers in position, so we'll redirect to the natural. Now we're just going to have to commit no matter what. 1 mine on the ramp is going to force... Actually, we don't have blink yet. That's the probe and not the stalkers. If blink was done, you go for this... well, actually, going for a stalker I think is better, but obviously if blink is done, then you can dodge the stalkers. But now the stalkers have blinked anyway, so we will get a stalker kill. So stalker and a probe, medevac's still alive. And obviously a big delay to the idea of what we're trying to do is this Adept is going to spot these Marines, which I thought were maybe out here trying to catch the Prism, which might have worked if the Adept hadn't spotted the Marines first. So now the extra stalkers warp in, and MaxPax preps his attack, but already supply blocked. I guess that doesn't affect you too much because you just warped in already, but it means that you're not building any additional probes during this. As the first siege tank is going to get a few shots off and already softening up stalkers, which move into the mineral line. Got a few stalkers heading to the natural as well, as stalkers blink already, so they're just going to be jumping straight into that Prism. On the natural, we've got a tank in the bunker too, and MaxPax just doesn't have enough stalkers in one place to really justify jumping on a siege tank or making any of the usual plays that you might make to try and take advantage of these kind of defensive positions. So MaxPax really not looking so hot here in game number 2, not having a good start. Things just not quite off to the the beginning he wants. And just kind of the Widow Mine kind of feels like it threw him off a little bit, and maybe now the Stalker's all collecting together and ByuN is moving out. Talk about a risky play. Well, how do we moving out for? I think ByuN almost felt like this wasn't aggressive enough to be worried about, and now he's kind of realizing that he was very wrong about that. And it was in fact aggressive enough to be worried about. So MaxPax gets some good damage done. He finds some value here after, again, ByuN kind of just makes the mistake. I honestly think he just misread the situation a little bit. That he was kind of going to be able to just sit here and move out and not have issues. But yeah, there was a lot coming back on the other side. Stalkers jump into the main. First SCV goes down already. Combat Shield is going to finish soon, as that Marauders will finish chase in and get rid of a couple of Stalkers right now. +1 attack is on the way. Combat shield about to be done. A couple more barracks coming up. Just for the moment. Thank you again, anonymous gifter. Just gifting us up to a cool guy. Thank you so much for continuing to support. Appreciate it. As our prism comes back around the center here, Stalkers hanging out. Temple Archive still coming up. The Gateway's coming in. Charging +1, all producing. And 2 more barracks on the way up right now as well. 1-1 upgrades are coming through. Fire moves around the main base. Our Stalker's just chilling at the front. There's another High Templar warping in. Storm already beginning. +1 attack upgrade coming through. That +1 just ticking along for a few moments as a little line of depots will build on the front. First depot going to get denied, and our tanks are going to get a few shots off. MaxPax definitely taking the supply lead. It's just crazy how much that blink into the main did. When ByuN's out of position, it takes you so long to respond to. It costs you so much. Fire coming over, Stalker getting chased away. Our CC is going to come out and land on third. It's going to get that in position as our Storm continues up. A couple tanks in the center. MaxPax is, well, quite frankly, right now maxed. Zealots and Stalkers, High Templars too, working down the right-hand side. Lots of shells going to finish shortly as, it's just a MaxPax advantage. What do you do from here as ByuN? This is where you maybe start dropping a little bit. Maybe this is where you find a medevac around the side, get a few probes here and there, maybe knock down some production or so. Yeah, that's exactly where you can expect to find something. Right now, just sitting at home and defending, well, I guess it's good that all your units are here because it doesn't look like it's going to go well for you even with everything here, but obviously then you're just going to kind of die anyways. To be fair, it's kind of close. I mean, I guess we're losing a lot of SCVs. It doesn't feel like there's too much Protoss left, but obviously if you lose 22 SCVs in the process, then it doesn't really matter. There is maybe the minor concern of if you kill enough here as ByuN, maybe you could run across the map and do something, but your ghosts are all out of energy. Your medevacs don't even have energy to heal. So just in general, you're in a bit of a rough spot, I think it's safe to say. Things are just not quite where you want them or need them to be. Cannon, Nexus, +1 armor, all these additions just coming through from MaxPax as he improves his status in Game 2. Looking to even out this series, 1 apiece in the best of 5. Again, we're here in the finals of the first Kung Fu Cup of the winter season. $1,500 and WTL points on the line as a couple of ghosties are still producing through, a couple 2-2 upgrades. Both sides of the map getting that 2-2 up and running, so 2-2 on both sides. The Stalkers and the Zealots come forward. The Prism has High Templars available. First Storm drops in for a bit of Marine Marauder. Now we start to work our way through the rocks, and again, this army just out the front of the natural, sitting and waiting for opportunity. Another Storm. The Bio kind of dodges away another one, and the Bio takes some hits once again. Now we pull back a little bit as our Zealots are going to get chased. A little snipe goes down. One Zealot gets picked off. Still seeing 2-2 coming up over on MaxPax's side of things here. Again, Zealot, Stalker, Archon joining up together. We do have ourselves the Fire Forces coming by. A couple of shots going out and just seeing an EMP going down. Zealot's going to take a little bit of a hit. And units continue by. Maybe ByuN is just never going to have enough. Not with these Zealots looking for the wraparound. And he drops some kind of frantic EMPs, but more of a goodbye to the game than anything seriously successful looking to happen. As MaxPax ties it 1-1. Gets it done. Obviously, this one was in the top left-hand side. Our red Protoss player tied up 1-1. From Psystorm, it is MaxPax. Finding a little bit of a break as ByuN moved out on that last game, really kind of screwed himself and his chances up a little bit. Looking to take the lead for the first time. And obviously take a lead now, you're on match and tournament points. ByuN will be knowing that as well. Our blue Terran bottom right from the Shopify Rebellion. Seeing what he can come up with in map 3. Dragon Scale, short map, quick map to get across, so definitely one where you can expect perhaps a bit of, maybe a bit of aggression to come through, maybe something a little bit feisty from ByuN early, maybe some pokes and some prods. Obviously, somewhat that depends on what MaxPax gets up to, because certain builds of MaxPax are just going to not make sense to move out against, so you want to try and be a little bit careful on those. As we have ourselves the Max and the Gateway coming up. And a probe already moving up into the natural expansion. Let's probe into the natural. And going for a couple of moments. Into the main base. Gonna nibble for a little bit. Thank you again, Anonymous Gifter. Just going wild. Give one out to Haru Star 2. Thank you for the continued love. I really appreciate it. That's have it cool. He's about halfway through here. The next is about halfway along as well. Bob Gate Nexus just coming out for a couple of moments as we have ourselves the Adept about halfway done, Chrono boosting along, factory in the refinery coming up, getting things underway. Well, the cancel is a choice again from MaxPax. Really feels like every time he does anything that isn't 4-gate blink is bad. Every time he does something that is good for 4-gate blink, it turns out well. That really has been the model of his TVP today. Our Adept will shade down to the natural. Have a bit of a look to see what's going on. Probe, Stalker, just firing up. Marines all joined together, just going to be having the Gateway and the Robo coming up as well from MaxPax. His preparations continue on this Blink build, and get very excited to see just what we do. It's 2 gates right now, 2 more again, so it's going to be 4. And how does ByuN go about trying to defend this? Like, how does ByuN decide to, you know, solve what has been just so consistent for MaxPax throughout the course of not just today, obviously, but just in general? MaxPax has always done very well with the 4-gate blink. As a single Widow Mine is going to be the drop in to the natural. Probes pull out of there. A couple Stalkers get warped in as well. And yeah. Blink coming up, Prison coming through, and just have our medevac into the top left-hand side. As again, the siege tank, couple of Marines all coming out. The Stalker's going to sit there and keep the medevac at bay. Stalker just comes up and just going to be seeing our Prism moving out onto the map, so getting ready for this attack. ByuN does have the Raven that's going to try and harass behind this. Prism gets ready to go into the main base. A few Stalkers warping in there, so already just kind of splitting into a bit of pressure as he obviously pulled the rest of the Stalkers back to defend a little. So just trying to get the pressure going immediately. A depot on the edge from ByuN is going to be the first to fall. He already finished one new depot up, so no immediate problem there, although he has to cancel the reactor, pull that back a little bit. 4 more Stalkers in the main, so full main base onslaught apparently. As this is where MaxPax wants to try and send it. First Adept shot. First tank shot goes off on that Adept. Second tank is in siege as we start the Prism Micro to keep the Stalkers alive. Killed the tank, second tank gets siege, and so far we're staying safe. ByuN really having to get his position set up correctly. That's a kill this time on the reactor that's building, so the starport unable to get to the reactor, unable to get toward these extra medevacs. The longer you get held off from that, the better it's going to be, of course, from MaxPax and Solio letting the Terran player get fully set up. Raven coming home, gets blinked, well, not even blinked on, it just kind of flew into the Stalker, so it gets jumped on. And the Stalkers just targeted fire it instantly, so the Raven goes down as well. That's, well, opportunity lost from ByuN, because now it's not doing anything across the map, and it definitely ain't doing anything at home. So nothing gained there. As our Stalkers come around, a couple SCVs taking damage, up bio units going to go for those Stalkers, tank shots firing. Now Stalkers taking a little bit more damage again as that Prism gets pushed back out over the right-hand side. Charge and a few more Stalkers building up. We will see the Prism unloading a few Stalkers on the corner. Couple of tank shots, dealing some damage. Our Stalkers getting kept away. As our Marines coming through, a couple of Stalkers pushed back immediately. Again, +1 attack, combat shield, concussive shells. All of this getting set up as our bunker still sits on the natural. Server coming up, a couple of depots lower after being raised. Effects pulling back over the sides, and you have ByuN obviously held on 2 bases. Now he's getting his 3rd CC up, so he hasn't had to break out to a 3rd yet, but at some point soon he probably will take the consideration of, yeah, I kind of want to get out on the map, I kind of don't want to just be stuck here forever. So at some point he will try and establish that 3rd base, and that's kind of what we're just building toward for the moment. That moment, as he does slip one medevac on the other side, and immediately, once this happens, you get the recall out of MaxPax, and it just resets all the aggression. Immediately the 3rd base just floats down into position as well, so you get to benefit from that almost immediately. These Stalkers that walked home are actually going to grab the medevacs. That will go down. Kind of felt like it could just fly back, but nope, not actually allowed. So that's a good catch from MaxPax. Good play to just be aware that ByuN is likely doing this, and at the very least, just in case he is, just have those few Stalkers to try and catch that mistake. Job well done as ByuN is kind of slipping up the right side. The Prism's going to see him moving. There's obviously one of the scary points right now for MaxPax, where you've got Blink Stalkers, but they're not catching the army coming across, and you have no splash damage. Like, your army is Zealot Stalker. Tanks are going to siege on the bridges here. Couldn't get the word. Which is actually blocking the ByuNs for a little bit. The tanks could come further forward right now. They're going to turn onto these Stalkers as the Stalkers start getting blasted. The Stalkers will blink on top of this, as now we see the ByuN just kiting backwards. Stalkers are very slow to get rid of the tanks realistically, as ByuN is getting a lot of work done. He's now going to catch this Immortal too. There's only 1 tank left, but the ByuN numbers are doing very well. Obviously, I guess that will halt a little bit with Zealots, but even these Zealots don't stop the ByuN as we continue through. 60 to 13 army supply. Quadruple army supply from ByuN over MaxPax. Now the probes on this 3rd base are in some trouble. Our first Colossus is about to pop, but how does a Colossus save the day when you have so little to work with as MaxPax? So little support for that Colossus. A few Zealots here might be okay for the moment. ByuN will kite to the right. If he kites to the right, he's going to have a flank from the left with reinforcements. They are currently straying across the minimap. In fact, they are about to be here, and this Colossus will not last long at all. MaxPax knows it. He calls GG, and ByuN is going to counter the 4-gate blink and get himself the 2-1 lead in our skip, because it's a great, chunk of prize money and everything. So that's actually maybe part of the reason why we don't see ByuN's name in that list as much, because he didn't have as many top 4 performances either. And obviously it's a tough tournament, getting top 4 easy, but would expect ByuN to be there a few more times, especially in the realm of an online event. He's an absolute monster. As in the top left, Red Protoss from Psystorm. This is MaxPax taking on the blue Terran in the bottom right from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. ByuN is patiently waiting for his moments in these games to kind of get across the map. I like the, I think the main thing is he pulls MaxPax back the first time with like a drop or a few Marines. And that does a lot for you, because then all of a sudden MaxPax has to recall home to defend, and that gives ByuN the freedom to get forward on the map a little bit, and that's what really puts MaxPax in a bit of a weird spot, and then you are really able to abuse the weak timing of 4-gate blink, where you've not quite got your transition through into any splash damage yet, and the Terran player has just been building up. That's when you can really take advantage of it, so very exciting, very cool. Game number 4. We do have our probe dancing around a little bit. SCV going to come in and nibble at said probe. So just little bits of damage being done here. As we do have our Nexus and our Cybercore coming through. Command Center coming in as well. Far so good. We'll see where we take it in terms of choices. A bit further down the line. We've got a cheeky little special guest for a moment, guys. See if we can get on stream. Oh. Kind of half on stream. There you go. A little special guest during the grand finals. Been a really good girl today, because me and Ellie are home alone, aren't we, baby? Yes, and you just been a good girl? Chilling out downstairs? It's her tea time soon, so she's probably come up to be like, is it time to eat yet, Dad? I'm hungry. Have to go sort your food out after this series, baby. After this finals, I'll give you your food, okay? Oh, you're excited about that, are you? You're excited about that, are you? Okay. I'll give you some loves while I cast. That works as well. Stargate coming up, and a couple of probes coming through as we just have ourselves the early game kind of panning out. I'm just going to go, obviously, the 1-1-1 setup here. You can see the factory obviously building a tech lab starport on the way. But with the Stargate, something a little bit different on the side of MaxPax as well. Moving away from the Twilight. He didn't play Stargate this series yet, right? Pretty sure he's played Twilight every game so far. Trying to make the most of that. Let's just have our Cyclone coming through, the first Phoenix coming up as well. Getting all of that ready. We have a few Marines coming forward as well in the orbital. We'll get landed on the natural just for a couple moments. Marines coming out, a couple of Adepts getting chased around. Robo facility already getting built up here as well, so getting that Robo up and running with the Phoenix. Still coming back down to the bottom right corner. A couple of Marines building up on the barracks. The Phoenix are going to come through. The Cyclone's there pretty quickly to say hello, how you doing to the Phoenix. Step back a little bit. And our Marines put a little bit more damage on the Phoenix again, so extra damage being dealt. Doing a good job of things so far. Just seeing a couple probes still coming out as our Medevac and Siege Tank coming in. Marines are still producing. This Phoenix is going to start flying in toward the natural, and do you see another Phoenix showing up? Liberator and Marines will continue to come by. Our Phoenix will take a peek at the main base. Going to decide to turn around in the end. So the Phoenix going to back this up. They're going to fall away for the moment. We still have our SCVs going through the center of the map. The Marines come in. The Cyclone is going to get a lock on, so the Phoenix will be pushed away over there as well. The Observer obviously sees everything. I mean, this is still a good push from ByuN, though, because the Phoenix haven't been able to intercept anything just yet. The tanks get here now. I mean, this is terrifying. There is an Immortal about to pop, but it is going to be coming from the natural where the tanks are sieged. And that battery is not exactly going to last very long. Uh-oh. Cyclone goes down. The Marines are diving pretty hard toward the Immortal, but they won't quite get it. Won't go down just yet. The Liberator is still coming through. A few more Stalkers. Sorry, the few Phoenix in the center are actually now trying to pick off some of the reinforcements. We have SCVs that are going to start building up bunkers. Is that pylon the only thing powering the Robo? No, Robo is still powered by a pylon off to the left-hand side. The Phoenix want to try and get some shots off here. Obviously, SCVs can repair anything taking damage. The Robo is in trouble with the tanks in range. Another tank going to show up. The Phoenix did not intercept the reinforcements adequately. Here we go. Phoenix lifting the siege tank. We target fire down the correct Phoenix here, so we're going to force that tank to drop. Tank is not dying. Oh my goodness, none of the tanks were dying as they got lifted. That is going to do it. That is going to be GG's. And ByuN is going to win out this tournament. The Kung Fu Cup #1 of the winter season is ByuN's.